It's that time of year again. Time to give you my predictions and thoughts on the 2026 Oscar nominees. I won't waste your time, let's get started. Oh yeah, but it seems like 99.5% of you aren't subscribed. I would greatly appreciate it if you can get that number down. Okay, now let's actually get started. Actor in a leading role: Timothée Chalamet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ethan Hawke, Michael B. Jordan, and Wagner Moura. This is a great selection of nominees. I would be happy with any one of these winning, except for maybe Wagner Moura. He was great in The Secret Agent, but I'll be honest, I wasn't a big fan of that film, and his performance didn't particularly move me. But nevertheless, great selection of nominees, but it's obviously gonna go to Timothée Chalamet. That's my prediction. But who exactly do I want to win? Well, that's a tough question. I keep going back and forth between Timothée Chalamet and Ethan Hawke. I would be very happy with either one of them, but for now, I'm gonna say Ethan Hawke. That would be a pleasant surprise and a well-earned moment for Ethan Hawke, one of my favourite actors. Next up we have actor in a supporting role: Benicio del Toro, Jacob Elordi, Delroy Lindo, Sean Penn, and Stellan Skarsgård. Another decent selection of nominees. I'm not the biggest fan of Jacob Elordi in Frankenstein, but he is good in the film, so I'm okay with this nomination. Also, I'm not entirely convinced that Benicio del Toro deserved an Oscar nomination for One Battle, but I'm totally okay with it. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Sean Penn and Stellan Skarsgård. I would be happy with either one of these performances winning, but considering Sentimental Value is my favourite film of the year, I would prefer it go to Stellan Skarsgård. And I think he's gonna win too, so that's my pick and prediction. Then we have actress in a leading role: Jessie Buckley, Rose Byrne, Kate Hudson, Renata Rainsby, and Emma Stone. I haven't actually seen Song Sung Blue, but I have seen everything else, and to be honest, I think Jessie Buckley's performance is the weakest out of the bunch. I'm just not a big fan of Hamnet, and Jessie Buckley's performance, while good, didn't really move me the same way it did other people. So if it were up to me, I'd give the Oscar to either Renata Rainsby or Rose Byrne. And if I'm being honest with myself, I think Rose Byrne is the correct choice, even though I much prefer Sentimental Value as a film over If I Had Legs I'd Kick You. Actress in a supporting role: Elle Fanning, Inga Ibsdottir Lilias, Amy Madigan, Wunmi Mosaku, and Tiana Taylor. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this selection. I love the Sentimental Value representation, but Amy Madigan in Weapons, I just don't see it. She's good, but I never thought to myself this is an Oscar-worthy performance while watching the film. And as for Wunmi Mosaku and Tiana Taylor, I feel like there were better options from these films alone. I don't know, maybe I'm just tweaking. But either way, I think the Oscar is gonna go to Inga Ibsdottir Lilias, but me personally, I actually kind of prefer Elle Fanning's performance in Sentimental Value. I know that's a hot take, but hey, I'll be happy either way. My prediction is Lilias, my pick is Elle Fanning. Animated feature film: Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie, and Zootopia 2. This was a pretty weak year for mainstream animation. I mean, the fact that Elio got nominated is crazy to me. I did not like that film at all. But K-pop Demon Hunters and Zootopia 2, perfectly fine films in my opinion. I haven't yet seen Little Amelie or Arco, but I'm gonna check them out eventually. But let's face it, K-pop Demon Hunters is most likely gonna win, and I'm okay with that. But as for my pick, I'm actually gonna get a bit funky with it. I'm gonna pick a film that I haven't even seen: Little Amelie or The Character of Rain. I just have a feeling I'm gonna enjoy that film much more than these other nominations, so that's my pick. Next up, for the first time ever, we have a Best Casting category: Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. I find it a bit strange that Sentimental Value didn't get nominated in this category, considering it got 4 other acting nominations. But anyway, my pick is Marty Supreme. I love the casting in that film, from Chalamet to Kevin O'Leary to Gwyneth Paltrow to Tyler the Creator. The casting in that film is very inspired, but I'm expecting this award to go to Sinners, which is totally fine as well. Cinematography: we've got Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I'll be honest, I do not like the cinematography in Frankenstein. I find it dull and lifeless, and frankly there were so many other films you could have nominated instead of Frankenstein, such as No Other Choice, which didn't get a single Oscar nomination, which is insane. I need to calm down. The rest of these nominations are perfectly fine. I'm expecting it to go to One Battle, and that's my pick as well. Although I'm a big fan of the cinematography in Marty Supreme as well, so it's 50-50 for me. For costume design, we have Avatar: Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. I'm fine with all of these nominations, but none of them stand out as anything too crazy in my opinion, but I guess I'll pick Marty Supreme, and I'll predict Frankenstein, why not? I think they want to give Frankenstein something, and I could see them giving it costume design. Directing, this is a big one. Chloe Zhao, Josh Safdie, Paul Thomas Anderson, Joachim Trier, and Ryan Coogler. They're more than likely going to give it to Paul Thomas Anderson, but as for my pick, I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind any of these, except for Chloe Zhao. I really don't like Hamnet. but I guess I'll pick Paul Thomas Anderson. This is his year and he deserves it. Film editing, we've got F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. I would love it to go to Sentimental Value. That film is so beautifully edited, I just don't trust the Academy to acknowledge it. They're most likely going to give it to F1, which I don't think is a well-edited film, but hey, it has the most editing, so I guess the Academy will have to vote for it. Or you know what, I could actually see them giving it to One Battle After Another. I don't know, it's 50-50. The pessimist inside of me is telling me to go with F1 as my prediction. But of course my pick is Sentimental Value. International feature film, this is a stacked category. We've got The Secret Agent, It Was Just an Accident, Sentimental Value, Sirat, and The Voice of Hind Rajab. Great selection of films, but they should have included no other choice. Look, 2 of these films are nominated for Best Picture, The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value, so realistically it's between them. And I feel like they're gonna go with The Secret Agent, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, I like The Secret Agent, but I think Sentimental Value is just on a different level. I wouldn't be too surprised if they gave it to It Was Just an Accident, but that's very unrealistic. But it would be a fun surprise. Anyway, prediction, The Secret Agent, pick, Sentimental Value. Then we've got makeup and hairstyling, there's Frankenstein, Kokuho, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. I actually love the makeup in The Smashing Machine, easily the best aspect of that entire film in my opinion, but I'm expecting it to go to Frankenstein. It's the film with the most noticeable makeup and hairstyling, so that's probably what's gonna win. And hey, it's hard to argue against, the makeup and hairstyling in Frankenstein is great. Music original score, we've got Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle, and Sinners. It's a shame they didn't nominate Marty Supreme, that's my favourite score of the year by far, but my favourite score out of this bunch is One Battle After Another. My prediction, however, is Sinners, which also has a great score. Music original song, Dear Me, Golden, I Lied to You, Sweet Dreams of Joy, and Train Dreams. I don't really have any opinion on this category, to be honest with you. They're going to give it to Golden, that's my prediction, and it's a fine song. My pick, however, is I Lied to You from Sinners. But I don't really care, to be honest. This is the least interesting category in my opinion. Then we've got production design. We have Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle, and Sinners. I'm not really sure about this one. I could kinda see it going to any one of these, but I guess my prediction is Sinners, and sure, why not? That's my pick as well. Sound, we have F1, Frankenstein, One Battle, Sinners, and Sirat. I love the inclusion of Sirat, that's an excellent sounding film, easily gonna be my pick. As for my prediction, I could see it going to either F1 or Sinners. Of course, F1 has the most sound, whereas Sinners has that one musical sequence, which I think the Academy will be thinking about when voting in this category. But ultimately, I'm gonna predict F1, Sirat is my pick. Visual effects, do I even need to discuss this? I mean, there's Avatar, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. They're gonna give it to Avatar, and sure, why not? Whenever Avatar is nominated for this category, you just know it's gonna win. And rightfully so, I guess. Next up we have writing, adapted screenplay. There's Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle, and Train Dreams. Very weak selection in my opinion. I only like 2 of these screenplays, One Battle and Begonia. And of course One Battle is gonna win, and that's my pick as well. Writing original screenplay, this is more like it. Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Every single one of these deserves to win. It's a stacked category. I think they're gonna give it to Sentimental Value, which makes me happy because, hey, that's my favorite film of the year, but I actually kinda want Blue Moon to win. When you look at Blue Moon, the 2 things that stand out the most about that film are the screenplay and Ethan Hawke's performance, and I would be very happy to see both of them awarded. But I'm expecting it to go to Sentimental Value, and you won't hear me complaining at all. And last but not least, Best Picture. The nominees are Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamlet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Not my favourite selection if I'm being honest with you. If it were up to me, only half of these would have been nominated. Marty Supreme, One Battle, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and maybe Begonia. The rest I don't really care for that much, but none of these films are outright bad in my opinion. So it is what it is, this is the selection we have. But I am still very salty that No Other Choice didn't get a single Oscar nomination. That's insane to me. Anyway, let's focus on the actual nominees. I think it's pretty obvious that One Battle After Another is going to win this award. And I am totally fine with that. However, if I had it my way, it would go to Sentimental Value. So there you have it, my prediction, One Battle, my pick, Sentimental Value. But don't get me wrong, I love One Battle After Another, so when it wins Best Picture, I'll be happy. And hey, that's all I have to say for now. Those are my brief thoughts and predictions on the 2026 Oscars. Even though I don't really care that much about the Academy Awards, it is always fun to stay up to date on them. And I will most likely be making this video again 1 year from now. So until then, see you next time.